For first mission in escalation and flirtation, I'm gonna give you some training wheels, okay? I'm specifically gonna tell you even what to say. So I'm gonna give you 3 lines and I want you to go out and I want you to use these lines in set because so many guys have these very platonic interactions. They're just like logical communication, asking get to know you questions. No, we're gonna spice it up. Okay, so 3 lines I want you to use. You don't have to use these all in the same set, by the way. I just want you to consciously use them throughout the night or throughout the day. First one is, you and I are not gonna get along, or if you wanna soften it, yeah, I'm not so sure you and I are gonna get along. But this idea of that you might not be getting along. Now, it's a push away in the sense that you're saying it won't work, but it's an intentful statement and a positive in the sense that you seem to care, or the fact that you're indicating a relationship. So it has a bit of a push-pull nature to it. The next one, which I really like, also has a push-pull nature to it, and that's gonna be, I thought I loved you until you said that, right? So you were doing so well and then you just fucked it up. Right? Again, you can tell the positive, you can tell the negative. And then the final one is a bit of a reverse. You're gonna say the negative first and followed by the positive, which is, yeah, at first I wasn't so sure about you, but now you're starting to impress me. Or something along those lines. Like, wow, you seemed weird at first, but now I'm starting to like you. Something like that, okay? So these are 3 different sort of flirtatious lines. You'll notice the push-pull nature to all of them. There's a positive and a negative in all of them. And that's what I want you to start injecting into your conversations, is the positive and negative, and also this idea of we. This idea that you and the girl are an item of some kind. And so that's a point of discussion. That's something that's on the table. The other thing I want you to be very clear on with this, they should be done playfully, okay? Playfully, right? Like any line, like there's the typical old school. I remember I had a student a long time ago, and I told him to do like, you're kind of a bad girl, as like a playful line. And he goes, you are a bad girl. That's not flirting. That's not playful, okay? It needs to be playful. You should have a smile on your face. You should be lighthearted. That's the nature of flirting. So I want you to get used to flirting, i.e., number 1, having flirtatious gestures in your interactions, but B, learning how to deliver them in a fun, lighthearted way, learning how to flirt properly. That's why I'm giving you the lines, so you don't have to worry about that part. That part's taken care of, but the delivery is still on you. Your second mission for escalation and flirtation is going to kind of take the first one a step further, which is, the first time I gave you the lines, now I'm gonna ask you to come up with the lines. So I want you to write 5 of your own push-pull lines, okay? 5 flirtatious lines that you can resonate with, that you think are fun, flirty, and that convey your personality, okay? So I want you to write out 5, and then you go out, try out your 5 lines in field. Since you've already had the practice of delivering my lines and kind of like hopefully seeing some effect with that, you get a good comparison. You'll get a good sort of field representation of whether your lines are any good. If all your lines fall flat on their face, I would suggest going back to the drawing board another time, writing 5 new ones, and understanding what truly makes a good line, okay? So now, instead of just taking mine, you're gonna write out your own push-pull lines that you're now gonna go try and use in the actual interactions with women. For your third mission in escalation and flirtation, what I want you to do is make flirtation a part of your life. Meaning, I want you flirting even when you don't have an outcome. I don't want you to only be like, oh, there's the hot girl, let me turn on flirt mode. I want you to be a flirty, fun person in life in general. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to start flirting and teasing girls that are a couple points below your threshold. So normally if like, for you to be attracted to a girl, she has to be like a 7 or an 8. I want you to start flirting with the 6s in your life. The 6s you go to school with, the 6s in your office, the 6s you meet out in a nightclub, that kind of a thing. Because a great thing's gonna happen when you do this. Number 1, the same flirtatious lines will probably go better for you because your value relative to them is even higher. The reception is going to be better. So you're going to get a great feel and a great idea of what it's like when you flirt the right way, because you're going to, get a better response from it. But more importantly, you're going to be actually flirting without an agenda. Right? You're going to be flirting for the sake of flirting rather than flirting with an outcome. And one of the most important things about flirting is that it's lighthearted, right? It's lighthearted. It doesn't have an outcome. There's not a lot of pressure there. Right? And anytime you have an outcome, that little bit of like they're grasping for a response, that you care about the response, that you like wait and check how she liked what you said, that's gonna hurt the effectiveness of flirtation. But if you build the muscle of flirting for its own sake and build the muscle of flirting without needing an outcome, which is a lot easier when you actually legitimately aren't attracted to the girl that much, then when you are attracted to the girl, this muscle memory is going to kick in and you're going to flirt much more naturally and much, much, much better, okay? So flirt with girls that are a point or 2 below your normal threshold. Now, Little word of caution, I don't recommend flirting with like 2s and 1s, and I don't know if you can find a 0, but like I don't want you to flirt with girls that are just insanely ugly or that just don't even register as female for you. The problem with that is a couple things. Number one, if your value is way, way, way higher than them, they may actually just think you're making fun of them or teasing them because they will be very not accustomed to getting positive responses from guys of your caliber. So you'll likely get very bad reactions from them. So it's actually bad practice in that regard. And secondly, their life experience is going to be so different than the life experience of the girls you're actually going to be like flirting with and hitting on that it really won't be a good test, right? You won't get a lot of reasonable feedback, and their blueprint will be very, very different. So I don't recommend going way, way, way down the scale, but go just slightly down the scale. Go to the girls that are like, well, you know, maybe she could be attractive, but I just wouldn't, right? Do that level, not the one where like, oh God, I don't want to look at it. Don't go that far because that's a different experience, but go just a little bit below where there truly isn't an outcome, but the girl's similar enough to the girls you'd be flirting with that you'll get sort of a good indicator, right? So again, we're developing the habit and the skill of making flirting natural, and we're developing the habit and the skill of flirting without an outcome. So flirt with a girl a point or two below what you would actually go ahead and sleep with. All right, for your fourth and final mission in escalation and flirtation, we're gonna take the flirtation and make it physical. So what I want you to do is, we'll call it writing a physical stack. Okay, now what does that mean? A physical stack basically is just an idea of certain physical moves you can make in sort of an order that makes sense to you. Okay, so one example that I'll just throw out to you, a physical stack, this is one that we use sometimes back in the day to like train guys that are like scared of getting physical. It's kind of like silly, it's kind of overly playful, but at least gets you comfortable being physical. So perhaps the first move might be like high five, right? High five is just like a fun gesture, a fun little move, but it's not super sexual. Nobody's gonna get like angry at you or feel like, you know, like molested by the fact that you like said high five to them, all right? So it's pretty innocuous, but it's something, right? And the next one might be, another one is like the handshake spin. You guys may have seen this if you're out at bars, like shake the hand and spin the girl around like a dance move. That's a little more invested, a little more man to woman. Maybe then it's like a hug. Maybe then it would be like kind of like slow dance with a girl a little bit. Maybe then it'd be go for a kiss. That would be like an example of 5 physical moves in the order of least invasive to most invasive. And you could by all means just use that for practice. I mean, goodness knows lots of guys learning pickup have used that exact stack. That's not a stack I use myself, and I think those moves are a little over the top player-ish and a little kind of cheesy. But by all means, if you're scared of physical escalation, go ahead and start with that. But what I want you to do for this mission, once you're comfortable a little bit with touch, is I want you to write out your own stack. What are physical escalation moves you think are in accordance with your personality? Like for me, I've never high-fived someone voluntarily in my life. I don't like high-fiving, I think it's weird. So I don't high-five as the start of my physical stack because it's not congruent with my personality, okay? But other people do, and it works for them. So I want you to think within your personality, what are 5 physical moves that you could do with a girl? And then I want you to order them from the one that makes you the most comfortable or least uncomfortable to the one that makes you the most uncomfortable. And then when you're gonna go out, you're gonna do these in order. So when you talk to a girl, you're gonna first do number 1 on the list. And then once you've done that, you're gonna try a little bit later, do number 2, a little bit later, do number 3, and try and move through the physical stack. And it should be enough of a gap between the moves that you actually feel like you're making progress as you continue the interaction and get more and more physical. Okay, so the point of this is to get you comfortable being physical and to make your physicality congruent with yourself, right? It's also to teach you calibration in the sense that you need to learn when you're ready for each move, all right? But the mission very simply is this: write out a stack of 5 moves and then go out and do those moves out with real girls.